Yo, it's Joe, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be reacting to Let's Talk About Tiberius. I saw like 20 minutes or so of Campaign 1, like the first episode. This is months back. At the time, I was like, oh, let me just get started with the watching episode 1. And I remember this guy, it was a dragon character, the Tiberius guy, and he's no longer in the show or with the cast, I know that much. So I'm looking to figure out what the story is. I saw this video in my recommended. I'm like, oh, bet. So I think this will be good for me to like learn a little bit more and get more of a perspective as to what happened and what went wrong. I know that there were like differences of opinion, or the guy wasn't that easy to work with, at least from what I hear. I could be wrong, but that's why we're watching this. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Let's get into this and see what this is about.
We need to talk about Tiberius, Orion Akaba, and his character Tiberius, a dragonborn sorcerer.
Orion. Actually, I think that I follow this guy on Twitter. I follow like all of, like the main cast that I know of. I remember seeing him in that first episode, and I'm pretty sure I haven't followed on Twitter.
It's frustrating to realize you're not on the same page as other people, so that's and no one was happy in that situation.
I mean, you would, that's gonna happen. That's why I'm so shocked by the chemistry of, the cast and how well they get along. The main cast that I know of, anyways, and how they get along with one another as they play. Because when you get different people together in a group like that, and you guys can all get along outside of the game and everything, but once you get in the game and you're actually depending on each other to move forward and progress, it can get a little weird when you're not on the same page with people. It's not even necessarily anybody's fault. It's just, you're not vibing as well. So like you said, that's understandable. It happens. That's what I expected, and I'm so shocked to see that the main cast for Critical Role meshes and works together so well. I expected something like this, but that's not anybody's fault,
Second, I think he suffered the most mechanically from the transition from Pathfinder into 5th edition. Transitioning to 5th edition for a streamed show made a lot of sense because it was the most popular edition at the time because it was a huge success.
Hold on a second. So mid-campaign they switched? Is that what he's saying? Did I miss that? If they switched mid-campaigns from one rule set to another rule set, yeah, that's going to be a little jarring. I'm surprised that they did that, if that's what he's saying. Fill me in if I'm wrong.
So there are multiple times during those Tiberius episodes where Orion expresses frustration at how a spell used to work or a spell he used to have access to that he no longer does. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sucks as a watcher, as a viewer, but it also sucks as a player.
Dude, I'd be super frustrated as a player too if I am so used to playing the game in a certain way and having these certain abilities, and then I basically get nerfed. It's just like a video game. I play video games. When a character that I like to use gets nerfed, or there's like a change to a character's moveset, it's frustrating because I'm so used to it being one way, and when it's changed, you have to adapt. And when you're making moves, when you get into like a competitive, I'm gonna use Overwatch as an example for any of you guys that play, but when you get into like a competitive like 1v1 or whatever, it's a very team-oriented game, just like D&D is a very team-oriented game. So if you're not used to your character working a certain way and they get a change in their moveset, muscle memory is going to make you go into a situation one way, and then you're going to come out of it costing yourself a life or your team a fight because it doesn't work the way that you remember it working, and you kind of forget that in the process. It happens all the time, so I can understand that.
I think that this also speaks to a larger issue, and one that is, again, not uncommon. He felt the need to win. He did not realize or did not internalize that the DM was not trying to kill them. And I think that there's another aspect to consider with Orion is that he had another show on Geek and Sundry. He was the only cast member who did.
I wonder if I'd be able to still check out those videos just to see him play and just see kind of like where his mindset was. Maybe I can react to him. I don't know. You let me know if that's something you'd want to see.
I don't know the man, but I think the fame went to his head. You also get to see him starting to experiment, starting to get kind of brazen, starting to go on these other missions and side quests to like come up with cool inventions and things. He wouldn't necessarily tell the cast or even Matt what he was trying to build or create, and that frustrates everyone.
I will say it's like understandable for someone to kind of want to do something in a game. I do think you do need to take a step back though with like something like D&D that's got all these rules. Like you gotta go in there with the mindset of, okay, I might have this plan and it's a great plan, and you could stick to the plan, but you gotta do it within the parameters of the rules of the game. So I can definitely empathize with him wanting to do something and being frustrated with it not being able to be done. But at the same time, I can empathize with Matt and the other cast members with number one being out of the loop with like what this guy's doing, and he's kind of just doing his own thing on his own and not necessarily trying to work with the other cast members to stay on track and focus. And I can also understand the frustration for Matt, where it's like, dude, you're kind of going off the beaten path here. This is not within the parameters of the game. And if he does it a bunch of times, I could definitely see Matt being like, dude, listen, I understand you want to do this thing, but you gotta go by the rules. I'm not trying to mess with your experience here. I'm not trying to make things harder for you. I'm not trying to belittle you or belittle your idea, but this is just the game. I am here to make sure that the game is played correctly, and you're not doing it. And it would also probably get in the way of Matt's world building, because Matt has to take note of all these things for his world that he's building, and it's just a little frustrating to, again, what I assume is what this guy's talking about is like for someone to constantly go off script, not even off script, just to kind of like constantly trying to beat their head against the wall and try to do something that they can't do in the game. It's like saying like, I'm gonna fly, as a human being, I'm gonna fly, and it's like, okay, but how are you gonna fly? Like we can't. We're humans. We can't fly. And it's like, no, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it like this and like this and like this and like this. And it's like, okay, but you can't fly though. That's not. We just can't. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways.
There is a point where the character begins to do things that are kind of brazen and kind of inappropriate. He brutally murders someone in the middle of a fight. It was also an old woman. This is something that has happened at many people's home games in various forms, representing friction between, I did a cool thing in game, why are people mad at me? And the DM saying, people are mad at you or frustrated by you because this is a living, breathing world.
I like how this guy is talking about this and wording things. He's being very objective, very fair, and he's just explaining what it is, and I like that. There's not really a bias here, which is nice. Just stating it as it is and trying to kind of explain why Orion feels a certain way and why the rest of the cast and the rest of the players may feel a certain way. I just appreciate what he's doing here, because it could be so easy for someone to just kick this guy or talk very like aggressively about him, and I haven't finished the video. The guy may deserve a little bit of that thrown its way. Who knows? But I appreciate that this guy's just being fair.
Tiberius wanted to do cool stuff, and Matt was here often saying, but this is a world with rules, both
absolutely
physical rules of the world because we're playing a game, and also laws. One of the worst, probably the worst Tiberius episode is episode 27. Maybe watch episode 24 and 25 and maybe 26, and then just skip episode 27. Additionally,
man, is that
this
bad,
is
huh?
in the era where
Is it that
crosstalk was
bad?
a lot more. Now, there are some personal things that were going on with Orion that we need to address. One was that he was struggling with cancer at the time. I believe he was struggling with illnesses and with addiction. Other information has come out about him since then that he had, for example, done charity streams on his own and failed to deliver the money, or that he had done some Me Too style crossing of lines with female collaborators in other projects. Hello, it's Editing Mike. I filmed this video, and then I realized there was some more stuff that I left out that I think was actually pretty important. Orion metagamed a lot. Another thing, and I think this is actually worse, is how disrespectful he was toward the agency of the other players. Sam Scanlon had an item that Orion felt that Tiberius would be able to use better. So he asked Scanlon to trade the item with him. I believe he asked 3 episodes in a row. The first time he asked, Sam was not present. Orion asked Scanlon, as played by Matt, if he could switch items with him. That's incredibly rude and disrespectful.
Yeah, I was just about to say, bro, you're asking this person and they're not even there to play their character. I would definitely take that as some disrespect. Imagine for a second if Matt wouldn't, but imagine if Matt was like, oh yeah, sure, as Scanlon, right? I come back to play my character Scanlon, and that one item that I had, maybe I'm like waiting on the perfect time to use it, kind of find out, oh no, actually I traded that item away while playing as you. Like, what? Yeah, that's, I would not be too happy with that either, honestly.
The last time the party does it, it is just one of the most egregious in my mind. Because unlike saying, oh, Pike, come along on this adventure with us, it's trying to get something, get a magic item, take a magic item from someone else's character sheet. That's rude. Eventually he did trade with Sam, and it led to a scene that I think a lot of people think was very funny. Orion writes on a chalkboard the number of times that Scanlon's used the item versus the number of times that Orion has done something, or Tiberius has done something, where the item would have helped. I don't think it's
That's a little
funny.
condescending. You don't know everything. You don't know it all, and you don't know what I'm holding that item for. Maybe you are better at using this item. Maybe I'm not using it as well. That may be the case, but don't belittle me or try to step on toes and try to kind of make a subtle jab at me. Not needed. Not necessary. Like, that would frustrate me as a player. Like, bro, like, I understand you might be better with it, but this is my item. I'm going to use it how I want to use it. If I mess up and I end up killing all of us because I don't use this item correctly, okay. At the end of the day, it's just a game, but it's my item to use as I please. You're not going to try to throw a jab at me. Oh, look at how many times it could have helped. I don't care. It's mine.
I think he's just kind of talking down to Sam/Scanlan.
That's what
Maybe
I'm
that's
saying.
just because another thing that I really did not talk about was that Orion had a subplot where he was kind of romancing Allura. But also, their first adventure, they go and they rescue Lady Kima. There is a definite implication that the two of them have at least a romantic history or a romantic interest in each other. And Orion got
Okay.
really butthurt about this. Like, he felt like he had, I guess I lost my chance. And he, like, pounded the table and went, really, Matthew? Weird and gross, because there is a level of...
Yikes. Right there, that moment is giving me huge nice guy vibes right there, bro. Huge nice guy vibes. And with a game, bro, that's a little weird. It's a little weird, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That is some gross dude bro entitlement right there. Now, in later episodes, a few episodes before he left the show, Orion was gifted a vest, like a long draping vest that was very much, it was deliberately the same style as what Tiberius wears in his character art. He just wore this same article of clothing to be more like Tiberius twice in a row. How else do I describe it other than he was starting to get a little drunk on the Kool-Aid?
If I had a vest like that and it fit the character, it's a vest. It's something I'm putting like over, like, it's a vest, you know? I wouldn't really see much of an issue with it, but I see what he's talking about, to where it can be perceived as, and it may as well have been, Tiberius getting, you know, like you said, a little drunk off that Kool-Aid.
A fan gifted him a wrist-mounted flamethrower, and he wore it on set 2 weeks in a row. Orion, you do not need to wear the clothes of your character twice in a row. You definitely do not need to have a flamethrower on your wrist.
Yeah,
And
that's
just
so deep, bro. Like, a fan made that for you, that's pretty dope. I would not be wearing that around, I'll tell you that. I'm keeping it in like a little nice glass box or something that could be displayed, like put it on like some sort of like a pedestal or something. Yeah, I'm not wearing that around.
you recall that I mentioned Tiberius had a catchphrase, that this catchphrase was put onto a t-shirt by a fan, and that Orion expressed some frustration and basically pointed out that that was a copyright breach. Travis intervened. No, don't worry about this. We were all big fans of your shirt. Travis, as the person who would eventually become the CEO of Critical Role and probably had a similar role within the group at that point, or perhaps rose to that occasion in this event, had to intervene and had to point out that this behavior was not appropriate.
That it didn't represent the thoughts, the ideas, the beliefs of the rest of the cast. I get it.
To put yourself out there as someone who wanted to shut down fan content was not a good look.
Yeah, that's crazy,
for Travis.
bro.
And
I understand you not wanting to have your catchphrase or whatever put on a shirt, but at the end of the day, dude, it ain't that deep, bro. It's like React content in a way. At least I can relate it to it in a sense to where some people can react to certain things and it gets struck down. For what? I mean, as long as you make it your own and it's not like the exact same thing, I don't see how it's a problem.
Tiberius appears in the first 7 issues of the Critical Role comic. The first 6 were designed as an origin story for the cast that is canonical with their games. This is how the group met. Tiberius very quickly goes, oh, alright, now I'm off to go do other things, goodbye! He sort of becomes this interesting footnote that no longer makes sense to include in the adaptation. And while it's easy for us to say, wow, we start really getting to know Percy once the Briarwood arc starts, and I think that's true, I think also we start getting to know Percy a lot better once Tiberius leaves. His dry humor his wit is a lot more subtle, and it's suddenly able to shine a little bit more. I think ultimately Orion was a problem player, and I think that sometimes the only way to deal with that after you've tried other methods is to really have a heart-to-heart and figure out, are you getting what you want out of this, because we are not. And while I do think that Tiberius had a significant role in that first campaign, his role was not critical. Well, that's it. I think after that pun,
But I see. I
delete my
got you.
YouTube channel. So
Yeah, bro, you gotta make a whole new channel after that, bro. This is crazy.
please, while you can, hit the like button and subscribe because I'm gonna keep putting out videos until the YouTube gods discover I made that pun and come for me. You can leave a comment below if you want, but
Hey,
just
man, I'm all about puns. It's all good. I appreciated it.
I'm trying to be respectful of everyone involved in this situation. I mean, no one has really spoken.
Bro, you did a fantastic job. You were informative yet fair. That's all I can ever ask for when looking at a video like this. You know, kind of try to be as objective as possible, but also be informative. So, yeah, you did good, dude. I enjoyed this thoroughly. If there's anything else like this that I can see that you put up or that you put on your channel, I will be there to react to it because videos like this help somebody like me who's new to this. I know a lot of you guys have been on this since, what did you say, 2015? I just got into this. So, you know, this will be a big help for me.
Spoken
Thank
of
you.
this publicly. Thank you so much for watching. Play fair and have fun.
Thank you, Super Geek Mike. So you can see his logo right there. You can see, I guess, this video by him wrangling an unfocused party, Vox Machina, Critical Role Demystified. Once I get to the point where I can watch something like that, the Demystified video, I definitely will. And you know what, man? Let me hit this guy with a sub, too, because I really liked his video. And if he has a lot of videos regarding Vox Machina, what it appears he's got a few, I'll be on there. But thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. If you see this, very informative. Like I said, I appreciate you. Very well spoken. You're very fair, but you are informative. You tell it how it is. Now I have a better understanding of why Orion was no longer with the cast. I get it. I think it was for the best for both. It seems as though the other members wanted something different than Orion did and vice versa. So just success and good fortune to all of them, you know what I mean? Everybody involved. Hopefully we all, you know, grew from then to now. Do all the good things. You guys know what I'm talking about. If there's anything else that I missed, anything that you feel like you want to put your 2 cents on, put it down in the comments. And have a good morning, afternoon, or night. Stay safe, because it's Crayola outside. And yeah, man. Or lady. Peace.